Alright y'all, and welcome to another alternative factuals video. And today I'm going to be talking about something, it's TV show related obviously, but I'm going to be talking about Swamp Thing, obviously season 1, since it's going to be its only season so far. But there's something actually very cool that happened in the most recent episode. The Phantom Stranger made an appearance. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people are wondering what's going on, or I guess what's his importance overall, for those of you who are not too familiar with the whole Phantom Stranger mythos, whatever. But before I dive into anything specific like that, or any details related to the character or the TV show, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe. Leave your comments down below. And without further ado, let's really dive into this. Now, off the back, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are like, oh, what's the Phantom Stranger's origin? And for any of you that have been reading DC Comics or even the Vertigo comics or anything like that, when it comes to the fictional character's biography, it's funny to say, like, for a character that's really powerful, who has longevity, who has like this interesting enigmatic nature about him, he actually does not have any personal information about him. We don't know how he came to be, we don't know his true origin, and it's never really been revealed, and there's been a lot of mysteries. Now, I do know that I believe it was DC produced a special issue of Secret Origins that basically gave 4 possible origins for the Phantom Stranger, basically. And one of them was he was a man in the biblical times who was spared God's wrath by an angel. The other was a wandering Jew story where the man named Isaac, with a wife, Rebecca, whatever, something about, eventually possessing the ability to have longevity, and he, were among the people who were killed with his wife, and yeah, blah blah blah. It's extensive, honestly, I'm not gonna go through it. And then another being that he got caught in a time loop. The other is that he's a fallen angel. So those are 4 possible origins. If you want details about those origins specifically in detail, that'll be another video if you want it. Like, just tell me that in the comments down below, or let me know with the likes or whatever, and we'll figure it out. But let me just dive into the episode. So overall, like I said in a previous Swamp Thing video, I'm enjoying the heck out of this show. And unfortunately, DC canceled it, not because the ratings sucked or people predicted like the show wasn't that great. It's just, it happens, things happened in terms of, financial issues when it comes to DC and Warner Brothers and all that stuff. But show was really good. The last episode was very interesting because, like I said, this is the whole point of Swamp Thing in this season, or at least these last few episodes, is he's exploring his abilities and what he's capable of, and is how powerful that his attachment is to the green. Now, I already explained what the green was in the other video. The green is basically this, it's kind of a term used to reference all plant life on the planet Earth, or any planet really. And all plant life is connected by this mystical kind of congregation of the Parliament of Trees. Basically, this is the green. Everything in the swamp, the trees, the forest, plains, anywhere that you see plant life, it's all a part of the green in the Parliament of Trees. So what makes this interesting is, like I said, he's still dealing with the fact that he's still very much caught up in the fact that he's, Alec Holland. That's pretty much what's in his mind. He's still trying to figure out what's going on with his body, and why is he turned into this beast? Why is he pretty much like this human plant hybrid, according to Abby Arcane, who's basically doing this research where, they have cell walls like a plant, but it kind of moves and maneuvers like an animal cell, and it reproduces at an exponential rate. So we kind of see that a lot of this is going on. It's very interesting, and like I said, I enjoy it very much simply because it combines the facts of science as well as it combines the mysticism of magic. And that's exactly what this show is supposed to be, where people initially thought, or even myself included at first, I thought they was taking more of a scientific approach to his character and how they created it, and that the chemicals itself were directly responsible for basically how the swamp, or how those plants kind of came to life and transformed Alec Holland into the Swamp Thing, when in reality we found out that it was the chemicals, don't get me wrong, but the chemicals were only basically a catalyst, when in reality the trees were always alive, the magic was always alive in that swamp. The swamp always had mystical properties, but a lot of people did not know about these things until relatively recently, when the swamp felt like it was under attack. Now, when I say the swamp felt like it was under attack, it was defending itself against the mutagens that was being dumped into the soil, into the waters, into the trees, and eventually the swamp had enough. But a lot of people didn't know this about the swamp in the TV series, is that the swamp was actually protecting a lot of the people in Marais from these dark forces. Like, I believe it was the episode before the last one that came out, this darkness that was kind of moving from person to person, causing them to see their worst fear, they actually was buried in the swamp. Well, technically they were hanging from the tree, but they're currently buried in the swamp. But it came out of the swamp simply because someone went into the swamp, killed themselves, and then basically the plant life, or the parliament of trees, or the green, was trying to keep that darkness buried for the sake of mankind, and so to speak. At least at one point it was trying to protect the people that lived in that town. At least it seemed that way. However, once again, people wandered into the swamp, and then it managed to escape, and then it passed from person to person until Abby was the one who brought it to Swamp Thing, until Swamp Thing put it back into the corpse in which it was found. So the swamp in a lot of ways was its mystical protection for this town, simply because of the magical properties that had to do with this town, as well as the fact that we see that the Blue Devil is there as well. And I'll dive into the Blue Devil. I'll do an individual video about the Blue Devil, but he is someone who comes from a family who kind of hunts magical archives or deals with mysticism as well. Even though he was never introduced in the Vertical comics, at least not that I know of, but he does have mystical properties. And I did cover him when they had the new, I believe it was the DC New 52 team up, where him and Black Lightning kind of met up. That's why I first kind of really got into him, because they had like a couple issues where they were fighting a bad guy. It was Tobias actually, when Tobias actually summoned the very demon that the Blue Devil wears. Like, in terms of the Blue Devil wears the skin of a demon, and then Tobias summoned that demon, but that's neither here nor there. Now, the reason why I like the fact that they introduced the Phantom Stranger into all this is because, for those of you who don't know his history, the Phantom Stranger has always been involved in all things mystical. He's, omnipresent, so to speak. He's omniscient. He always seems to know what's going on, and he's extremely powerful. But he always doesn't really seem to, reveal his identity. And one thing they did in the show is give him a physical form, a physical identity. Now, whether or not he's going to be able to shapeshift and change his form, that's one thing. But he always had these connections to these, mystical forms, simply because, one, he's an immortal, he never ages, and also he has the abilities to, know the exact origin of everything. He can travel enormous distances in short periods of time. He can actually jump through dimensions, even between heaven and hell, and he's had different abilities throughout the course of time, and then they're all canon technically. And a lot of people seem to think of him as like a plot device in a lot of the comics, in terms of when he comes in, things seem to either be going down, or chances are he's going to be able to solve it. But in a lot of ways, when the Phantom Stranger shows up, it's kind of a reference to how serious things are, like most people think it is. But what makes it interesting is that the Phantom Stranger is somebody who is always filled with knowledge. Very rarely does he get involved in a lot of things, simply because I guess he's aware of how powerful he is, and he only gets involved in things that require his assistance, where something is on such an extreme magnitude that he has to get involved. But he is someone who always knows the knowledge, and he serves as, yes, a plot device in the show, don't get me wrong, but for a fact, he is actually there to kind of guide Alec and show him, like, yes, you become a part of the swamp, but the trees know everything. They have knowledge. Plant life sees everything. They know everything that goes on, and by your connection to the green, you have access to almost every bit of knowledge that there ever was, that ever will be in the world, because, like I said, the trees are connected. The Parliament of Trees are connected planetary level, so he can even access knowledge from like plants all the way in Africa. And let's say if a tree is like 100, 200 years or 300 years old, he can access the knowledge of that tree. Basically, whatever the tree saw, whatever the tree witnessed, he can access that knowledge, and then he can use that to his advantage, which is why we saw in the episode he was able to not only tap into the trees, into the plants in the area, he was actually able to see Abby's past, as well as he was able to show Abby as well that she was not responsible for the death of her friend, something that was evil that the swamp tried to keep. It kind of dragged her under the water, and it twisted her spirit, and which is why she was haunting the mother of her best friend. So this is very interesting. There's a lot of mystical things going on, and then they introduce the Phantom Stranger in such a way that he's not there to solve the problem. He's there to help Alec figure out what's going on. He's there to show him how to use his abilities, and it's a nice little touch, actually. I really enjoy the interaction between them two, and I'm pretty sure he's going to make another appearance. At least I would surely hope so, because he definitely needs to make another appearance. But I enjoyed it. But I'm not going to drag on this video for too much longer. I feel like like it's already been a little bit. It's been about a 10-minute video, but let me know what you think in the comments. Are you excited to have seen the Phantom Stranger in the TV show? Have you been wanting to see him, or are you excited on the way how they depicted the Phantom Stranger for the first time of his physical appearance in the real world in a live action series? Let me know in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe, and leave your comments down below, please. I want to know all your opinions and what you think and your theories and all that. And without further ado, I guess I'll see you later on. Peace out.